And then remember to shut it off.
Okay, so now it's recording. Okay. Well, we're going to start the meeting. So welcome everybody. I'm Maggie Coulter with the Elmhurst Neighborhood Association and other board members on the call. Looks like Francesca. Want to say hi, Francesca?
Hello, everyone from the trees of Elmhurst.
And Rick's another board member. You want to say hi, Rick?
Hi there.
Any other board members on the call right now? I can't see everybody, but okay, so we're gonna start the meeting as we usually do when we have presentations. We have our presenters first. Oh, and Patricia Doherty is another board member, is also on the call. So our first presentation, we asked SAC PD if they would have somebody come and just give us an update on the neighborhood crime and safety issues. And so Brent Kaneyuki is here. Following him will be somebody from recycling and solid waste, and following that will be the Soundwall update. So Brent, take it away. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, hello everybody. Thanks for inviting me. Again, my name is Brent Kaneyuki. I'm the area lieutenant responsible for the Elmhurst neighborhood, and then I have other areas like Tahoe Park, mostly the Stockton Boulevard area, and then kind of the Power Inn area as well. So I was able to pull a couple of the stats. The fortunate part with the Elmhurst neighborhood is, unlike kind of nationally and then statewide, the violent crimes aren't high at all within the Elmhurst neighborhood. Kind of looking at it, we looked at the 5-year average. The only thing that was really up were kind of theft related type calls. Over a 5-year average, on average, we go about 31. And right now through July 1st, you're about 21 theft related type of incidences. Some of the top reports that we're taking within the Elmhurst neighborhood, we have 8 grand theft reports. Those are basically thefts over $950. We have 7 vandalism reports, 7 auto burglaries, and then other type of theft reports, we have 5. So like I said, the violent crimes, fortunately, within the Elmhurst neighborhood have not been high. I was able to kind of look at some stats kind of nationwide, and 66 of 70 large police agencies reported in basically kind of their violent crime stats compared to last year. And for that, homicides, sexual assaults, and aggravated assaults are all up across the board. You look at any type of city and they are all up. So again, fortunately within the Elmhurst neighborhood, it has not been up. A couple of things that I wanted to talk about, obviously with the holiday season coming up, one of the things that we get a lot of is the package thefts. So our recommendation within department, number one, is to get it, if you do have a package, make sure somebody's home to receive it right away, or have it delivered to a secure area. The other thing that's been very helpful with a lot of our investigations is the actual Ring cameras. And I personally have one of the Ring cameras, and those are a great thing to have. The other thing is the auto burglaries tend to go up as well. So obviously lock your vehicles and don't keep any type of valuables within your vehicles. And then finally, is just kind of just if you're outside walking around, just be aware of your surroundings. I know people have a tendency to look at their cell phones or to kind of be distracted, but really, if you're outside, you should really be paying attention to what's going on around you. And then again, there really is strength within numbers. So one of the things that we've seen in a couple parts of the city are some of the basically the strong arm robberies. So again, in a lot of those instances, it's people that are by themselves and probably not really paying attention to what's going on around them. So with that said, I will open up to questions. I know there's probably several questions from the group.
I have a question. I don't know how much the police deal with graffiti, but I've noticed that it seems like we're dealing with more of that in our neighborhood lately.
Yeah, it's a lot of the graffiti stuff. You could basically report that online, but if there's any type of hate, like a hate crime or anything like that, then we'll definitely have an officer come out and take that report. But the key part is, I know it could be kind of a pain in the butt, is if you do have a vandalism, report it online or report it over the telephone. So that way we have statistics, because basically crime basically drives where the resources are put. So definitely don't try to ignore it and not do anything. I would definitely try to report it either online or call up our report writers.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah, I'm
What-
just gonna ask Carrie, just a second. If you're not speaking, please mute yourself. And if you can raise your hand, that's helpful. So Carrie, go ahead.
So what's strong arm versus other assault or robbery or whatever that was you said?
Yeah, strong arm robbery basically is no weapons involved, and it usually forces use, like they'll walk up to you and strip your purse away from you or knock you to the ground and then take your belongings.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
that's okay. Well, it makes sense. It is what it is. I just was curious. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I know, Brent, one of the questions that we have had is just the response level. And when you report these, these various, obviously the burglaries and the theft, which are more prevalent here, does that indicate that the SAC PD responded to those, or is that just simply somebody who reported that online? Those
Yeah,
crimes?
are you talking about the stats that I was talking about right now?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, those are stats that are reported to us. So that's why a lot of times I know there's probably more theft and kind of low level crimes that are occurring. Again, the ask is that you guys really report that so we know what's going on. Yeah, what I talked about those are just stats of people calling in, and then a crime report is generated from that.
So does that mean SAC PD actually came out to investigate those?
It either means they came out or they actually took the report over the telephone and confirmed that a crime actually occurred.
Okay. Any other questions? I see there's a couple things in the chat. Okay. Let's see. So if there aren't any other questions for Lieutenant Kaneyuki, thank you again for coming, and we appreciate your being responsive. I did want to just, one of the things that's been on the agenda is, concern about drug houses in the neighborhood, and just if you want to just comment on how does SAC PD patrol that, and then we'll move on to the next thing, but go ahead.
Yeah, for the drug houses, I know within an email I saw there was a 2nd Avenue address. I passed that address along to our POP officers, our problem-oriented policing officers, who really focus on kind of the long-term neighborhood type of issues. That's kind of more in their wheelhouse in terms of like a narcotics house. But obviously you guys all live within the neighborhood. If you do have a specific neighbor that you're suspecting maybe something suspicious is occurring, what we would ask that you guys do is obviously maybe keep a log of whatever suspicious activity that you're seeing. Get in contact with myself. If you could get license plates, that definitely helps out. So that way we could really identify who's coming and going from those residences. But again, you guys live within the neighborhood, so you see a lot of the issues and problems. I know specifically with the 2nd Avenue address, there is what we call, there's no probation or parole status, so we can't necessarily go in there and do any type of search. So I know they went over there, they knocked on the door, nobody answered it. So from that point, there's really not much they could do if they don't have any type of status there or any type of crime that's actually like a fresh violent crime that's actually occurring. So again, if you do have a neighbor or a specific address that's causing issues or problems, let me know. And then if you could provide some of those informations, and that'll definitely help us out.
Okay, thank you very much. Robert, do you have a question? And then I think that we'll take that. If you want to unmute, Robert.
Thank you. Can you tell me, is there periodically a neighborhood crime report? And if so, how do we access it?
What frequency?
Yeah, perfect. Great question. So if you go to our website, sacpd.org, you could actually kind of punch in like an intersection or a specific address, and it'll basically bring up all the crimes that have occurred around the area. It'll give you some of the general details on it, not like the specifics of who the people or involved persons were, but it'll give you general information on there. Also on the website and through our social media, our PIO puts out information on significant calls that have occurred throughout the city. And then if there is anything in Elmhurst, it'll also be included in there. So I encourage you to go to sacpd.org and you'll be able to find all the information that you might be interested in.
Great, thank you very much.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you very much, Brent. I think we're gonna move on to our next topic. I don't see any other hands up. So again, thank you very much for coming. We appreciate it and appreciate it that you were very responsive. And so again, I just want to echo what you said. If people do have concerns that we can communicate with you. So thank you.
Perfect. I'll put my email and my cell phone number on the chat so that way you guys have that. So thank you for inviting me.
Great, thank you. I think we're gonna go to recycling and solid waste. Let's see, and then let me just check real quick. Anna, you said somebody was having trouble getting on. Did people get on?
Yeah.
Hi, Maggie. Yes, both of my Caltrans reps are both on.
Okay, great. Okay, so
You as well.
okay, great. All right, so solid waste, recycling and solid waste. Who is here from recycling?
It's Erin Treadwell. I am.
Hi, Erin.
Hi,
Okay,
how are
take it
you?
away.
Sure. I have a PowerPoint if I could share the screen. That would be great. Let me see. Yeah, you'll need to allow me to share the screen.
So what you do, Maggie, is you make her co-host. So you go up to her name and where you see it and there's little dots, 3 dots. Click on that and make her a co-host.
You should now be able to share, Erin.
Yeah, all right.
Meanwhile, I see some people are still unmuted and your background noises are going to come through.
Yeah, if you're not muted, please mute yourself. Thank you.
All right. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me the time here tonight. I have a presentation. It's about 6-7 minutes. I talk really fast. But I'm Erin Treadwell. I'm with the Recycling Solid Waste Division. We're within the Department of Public Works. And I'm coming to share with you tonight about a few things that are going on with our division, including the introduction of food waste as a service that's going to start next year, as well as a rate adjustment that you probably all have seen or read about since we sent notices to everyone about a month ago related to our rate hearing. But new food waste service is coming. And I don't know how many here at this meeting remember that we went into Elmhurst in 2014. I had to go back and look at my records. And we did a food waste pilot in 2014 in the Elmhurst neighborhood. So you were on the cutting edge all the way back in 2014. But we will be starting to collect food waste or having you separate it from your garbage and putting it into your green waste containers, probably starting next summer. The reason we have to do this is we had started looking at it, like I said, 6 years ago, or 7 years ago, actually. But the state law goes into effect on January 1. It's called SB 1383. And its purpose is to reduce greenhouse gases. And a huge chunk of greenhouse gas that's generated is methane that is comes off of food waste that is decomposing in landfills. So statewide, everyone will have to divert their food waste out of the landfill starting in 2022. And that's for everybody, businesses, apartments, residents. So, and what are organics? It's food waste, it's landscape trimmings, it's non-hazardous food waste. It's all the things that kind of decompose. So we will be doing a lot of education. We will be providing the countertop cans, which we sent out to Elmhurst back then, but you'll get to sign up and get another one if you'd like. And we are going to probably be distributing those probably about a month or two before the actual services start in the summer. All right. I do want to don't want to get too deep into my comments without calling out. It is leaf season. It's the most stressful time of the year. We think we want to create a song by that for our leaf crews, but it is leaf season, so we're out there collecting leaves on the street. We do really urge, please fill your containers first, have those full, and then pile. We come by about 22 times. If you look at the number of weeks we come by, and we will pick up a full can every week on your collection day. The clock comes around about 7 to 8 times during that same time period. If you use your can and pile, we can get things picked up faster. So we encourage that. And the last day to put stuff out would be January 23rd. All right. So a few things that are going on just in the division. We have done some efficiencies. We rerouted the city. As you probably know, or many of you are impacted, we did change some service days and some recycling weeks. We went from a 4-day service week from Monday through Thursdays, and now we are servicing Mondays through Fridays. We also have been working on preparing for the food waste program. The reroute was a piece of that. We've got all of our fleet now is CNG, so it's compressed natural gas, and we've installed a station now at our yard so that we don't have to rely on the compressed natural gas that's in the community and wait in long lines, so we can get through our routes efficiently. We've got new GPS monitoring on our trucks so we can see where they are and what they're doing. And we also now oversee, the county used to oversee all commercial waste compliance, so that's all the businesses and restaurants. And we now have taken that on, and we regulate all of that within the city ourselves now. I actually am the manager of that particular unit. So that's been a new change for what we're doing in recycling and solid waste. Let's get down to the meat of the meeting. We are proposing a rate adjustment. You should have all received a letter, what we call a Prop 218 notice, right at the beginning of October. And the main reason for this rate adjustment does come from 1383. The cost for processing green waste, or the organics that we now have to process, is about, you can see the difference here, between $42 a ton is what we pay now to process the green waste and the leaves that we pick up. It's going to go to $104 a ton because food waste is going to be mixed in with it. So again, that's starting in the summer, but it's a heavy lift, and it's a big cost that we have to incur. There is a hearing on November 17th in front of the Utility Rates Advisory Commission. So that's a week from Wednesday. So you can tune in, you can comment, you can hear what the conversation is about the proposed rate adjustment. And I'll show you the grid here in a second. And before we get to the grid, we have had some additional challenges this year. Haven't we all? But right now, with everyone staying at home, and granted, many of us are allowed to come or back in the office part-time. But with everyone home, guess what? All the waste went into the residential waste stream. It wasn't spread out amongst the residential stream and the office commercial stream and the restaurant you might have gone to for dinner or lunch. All of it went into the residential stream. So we had quite a huge increase in our tonnage during the pandemic. And tonnage increase means heavier weights, means more times we have to take the trip out to the dump and then come back and get it back on route. And it did cause some service delays. We're over the most of that. The reroute certainly helped balance out the routes and has helped, but we were hit by the pandemic in that regard. All right. Related to the rate adjustment, we have had our rate adjustment delayed a couple of times, understandably, with with what's going on with the economy and with just the pandemic. However, we're at a point now that if we don't adjust now or go for it, we're going to be in the red by 2025. Also, if we delay any more, the adjustment's going to be even higher because we have to recoup the cost of what it is to provide you the service. There's no cost of living on top of what we charge. It's what it costs for us to have a truck come to your home and collect, or 3 trucks come to your home and collect those commodities and take them and dispose of them. The state law actually requires that we get the cost of what it, recoup the cost of what it is to provide that service. So this is the rate adjustment that is being proposed. And again, this is the same grid that you probably saw in your 218 notice. And it's what we're basically looking at is a $3.83 adjustment in over 3 different years, with a total of $11.49 at the end of that adjustment. So in 23-24. And you can also see how you can see the variance, and you can see the proposed rates. And you can see that, really yard waste is where the majority of that rate is landing. So that is basically my presentation. And I can keep the screen up, or I can stop sharing, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Why don't you take the screen down just so we can see, and
Sure.
if people want to,
we
again,
go.
please stay muted unless you want to ask a question. I did have one quick question, which is that what is actually now happening with the green waste? Is it being composted, and where is it available, or is it being incinerated, or what's happening with it?
So the green waste, as we collect it now, the leaves, the yard clippings, all of that actually is processed and taken down to the Mid Valley and used as mulch in ranch and farm applications. So that's the thing is that they won't take it mixed with food. So once you put the food into the, it changes the composition and it changes how it has to be processed. So we have contracts in place now with 3 different processors who will be taking our combined food and green waste, and we're going to you'll start hearing us use the word organics, because that's what it is. So the organics now are going to be processed. They are going to be processed into a compost. Much of it will be used industrially, but some of it will be used and brought back into the city. We haven't worked through if we're going to have a free compost days or what that's all going to look like. There is a certain amount that we actually, the state law requires us to bring back and use in the city. So like in our parks programs and those sorts of things. But because the food waste is in there, it changes the composition, and it changes the type of processing that can be used for the combined yard waste and food scraps.
Thank you. Yeah, I remember when you could go down to C Street and get compost, and it was great stuff. Does anybody have any questions? I don't see hands. Okay, Carrie.
Hi there. So if you don't have a yard green waste can in the city, how are you gonna
Right. So if you don't have a yard waste can, we actually have a food waste only rate and a food waste only container, because there is no exemption from the food waste program. That's a state law.
That's because we eat.
Right. Everybody eats. Granted, not everyone has a yard. So on that grid I showed you, there was along the bottom, it was a food waste only rate. And we know that, well, we have about 12,000 accounts out of the 138,000 who don't have green waste. They either were deemed exempt because of the way their property is, or there's some of the infill developments that literally have not even a side yard, not even a backyard. They're just, 0 lots, and they're tall and narrow. But those will all have to have food waste. And
so there are lots of condominiums and gated
Carrie,
HOAs.
Yeah, do you mind just putting that in the chat? I'm a little worried about the time, and I think
Oh.
most of the people in Elmhurst actually do have food waste. So
Well,
if we
All,
could-
all of
yeah.
the multifamily will have to have food waste starting next year as well. So they're all it's all required citywide, everybody.
So again, I appreciate your coming. If people do think of questions later, please put them in the chat. And I think if Carrie, if you can do that too. I'm just kind of looking at the time. So I think we're going to move on. Again, thank you, Erin.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, move on to the folks from talking about the Soundwall. So Anna, do you want to take that away?
Yeah, I can give a quick introduction. On the line with me today are Jim Rogers and Angela DePrado of Caltrans, and I will hand it over to them to give an update on the Soundwall.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Rogers, and I'm the project manager. I've talked to you all a few times. I do have a quick PowerPoint that's just a kind of a quick update on the entire project. If you want to let me share my screen, or however you did that.
I've just done that again. So you can share.
Let's see. Oh, there it is. Let's see if I can. All right. Are you seeing it on the whole screen, or?
I don't see it. You're sharing it, right?
I think so.
Yeah, okay. I made you a co-host.
Sorry. I normally have two screens, two monitors, and it works better.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't know. Patricia, are you there? Do you have any suggestions about I did make him a co-host.
No, you've done the right thing. It's on his end. He has to have it open to be able to share. I'm sure he'll get it.
And there's a button that you have to hit somewhere on your screen, depending on how this program presents, that says share. And you have to hit that too.
He's got that. It's just, I think when he gets there, he's not finding his document.
There we go. How's that?
Something's happening. Okay, great.
All right. So this is the Highway 50 project. It goes from I-5 out to Watt Avenue. Just quickly through the pictures. Are you, hopefully you're,
Still on the first screen.
yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Not sure why it's being so difficult.
Go up to slideshow, Jim, and press on slideshow up top. See there next to animations and review.
There, is that now are you seeing the whole screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you advance then? Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So segment one is the part down in the WX freeway down by I-5, and we're widening in the median there for the carpool lane. Just kind of some photos. This is showing the abutment of one of the bridges that's being formed up, and then we'll fill in that gap between the two bridges. Here's the new columns for the bridge down the middle. And then they're building the Falsework that's going to pour the concrete on top of this. So just some pictures there downtown. And then there's the latest is they're putting the rebar in, and then they'll pour concrete on top of that to build the bridges in the median. Second segment is to the west end of your guys' neighborhood, doing the same thing, widening in the median. And then segment 3 is the one you all are concerned about. It's 39th Street to 65th Street, and that's where we're currently building the sound walls and building the retaining walls and getting ready to widen the freeway. So there's one of the sound walls being built there where the blocks are stacked up to almost full height. This is the section down between Stockton and 39th where they've built the concrete traffic barrier, and then they'll place the blocks on top of that for the sound wall. And then here they're building the retaining wall that's down below the sound wall. A couple of photos of that. Another one of the retaining wall. Another one of the retaining wall there. And then this is what the retaining wall looks like when they're done. It's stamped concrete to make it look like the sound walls with look like concrete blocks. And they're putting in some drainage down there in front of the retaining wall. Here's the 39th Street overcrossing. It's they're working on the new barrier. They had to widen the bridge out there just a few inches and build a new barrier on it. And then they'll put the blocks on top of that for the sound wall. And then the next segment, 65th out to Howe, and they're doing the same thing, widening in the median there. Remove the median barrier. And then the next section is out towards Watt, and there they're working, removing the pavement to start replacing the pavement. And then we had to do some work for the light rail lines. We moved the electrical lines for light rail so that they could, for when they widen the bridges in the median. So all of this work's happened recently. This was over the Halloween weekend. On Sunday, they ran the test train after the work was done and got it all fixed up. Here we are, we've completed 30% of the bridge work so far, all of that foundation work.
It is amazing what they're getting done out there on this.
And
Somebody needs to mute, sorry.
the sound walls are 71% complete. The retaining walls are 49%, and they're just getting started on the highway work. So. And that's all I've got for the presentation.
So why don't we take questions? If you just stay muted unless you have a question, and please put your hand up.
Anybody?
Oh, Kay, go ahead. Oh, Kay, so you gotta unmute. Did you have your, there you go.
I have a question about landscaping along the sound wall facing our streets, like T Street. Will there be any landscaping in front of the wall?
I don't believe there's anything on the city street side. Most of that's just a narrow strip between the sound wall. If it's a wide area where there's trees or things, then that will be maintained and landscaping will happen there. But if it's just a foot or two between the back of the sidewalk or the curb and the sound wall, that'll just get the green hydro seed spray on it.
What happens when we start seeing graffiti there?
Just the same as graffiti always is. You need to report it to the police department.
Oh, so that Caltrans doesn't come out and do anything?
Well, they do, but they're still coordinated through the police department.
No, okay.
Okay, we got Eric. Eric, you have a question? Thanks, Kay.
Oh, before Eric answers the question, we also have a customer service request system online, and that is available for people to report graffiti for Caltrans to clean it only on the state right away. We don't clean the city area, so just the state right away would be the graffiti that we do attend to.
I'm going to take Eric's question, but I do want to note that basically you have a blank tapestry there, which just seems like it's ripe for graffiti there along the along T Street. Eric, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. This is just following up on trees and graffiti. We're already seeing graffiti on the big sections of graffiti on this freeway side of the wall, which is already problematic. My main question is, what are you guys going to do to, help avoid that is there gonna be, because right now the wall where it ends on overpasses, it's easy to get into that side of the wall and just, go to town on graffiti. So are those gaps gonna be closed so people can't get there and do the graffiti? And then my second question is, it is disappointing to hear that there will not be any trees or planting on the T Street side of the wall, especially from 56th down to 59th. That is probably a couple feet of open space. And like Maggie said, how is that? How it's just prime for graffiti. If there is no trees to cover that wall, if you guys aren't going to plant ivy or anything, it's really problematic. The neighborhood's going to have to step up and do something if we're not going to put trees into that median. I think as a, neighbor, I think it's really disappointing because there were a number of trees that were removed from those medians to build this wall. And, that is a deterrent for graffiti. So I am really sad to hear that that's not going to happen. We're going to have to figure out how to do that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get with the landscape team and confirm that area. I wrote down that 56th to 59th, especially. I'll look into that and see for sure that if there is any plan there. But I know that's the basic plan is not to do anything.
Yeah, I think that's, I'm going to call on Marcia, but I just want to echo what Eric said. I think that's very disappointing because it certainly is much worse than it was before. And again, an invitation to graffiti. But go ahead, Marcia. You need to unmute. There you go.
As I drive up the 50 east, I have been looking at all of the plantings that are on the walls, and I see a very tight hugging vine that goes on the walls up there, and a lot of it in sections. So I think that might be a solution to our problem. I'm not so sure there's room for trees there, but I think the tight hugging vines, I would encourage anybody who goes up the 50 to look on the right side and see what there is, because I'm assuming that that's a possibility for us to have. So I just wanted to put that in and see if that's possible.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that, see what the options are. But yeah, I know there has been a lot of graffiti on the freeway side. They've been pressure washing it off, and some of it has come off very easily and some of it has not. So they're trying to come up with a strategy on the stuff. They depends on what kind of paint they use. It seems that whether it comes off easily or not.
Did you have an answer, I think, to Eric's question about the people being able to get into the freeway and closing off?
Yeah, that it should be secure. When we're done, you're gonna have to tighten up all those, all the fences and everything, and then there'll be the wall itself should not have any gaps in it. There will be some doors through the wall for maintenance to get in at a few places, but those typically are locked. So the security should be decent once the project's completed. It's just, we got to get there first.
Sarah? You have to unmute. There you go.
Just a quick question. There was a blue welcome to Elmhurst, one of those neighborhood signs that was on T and like 56th, 57th. I noticed it's not back up, and I love that sign. Just wondering if it's still in possession and is going to go back up.
I'll have to check on that. I didn't realize they'd taken any of those down, so.
So other questions? Carrie, did you have a question? Okay. I also noticed that the trees on the and we're sort of talking the same area in Elmhurst, but the trees on the freeway side seem to be looking worse and worse. And it looks like more of those trees are dying. So what is being done to maintain? I mean, you've basically taken all the trees out on the T Street side, but what about the freeway side?
The freeway side, there's some that they ended up, looks like they cut into the roots a little bit more than they originally thought, so that those trees are looking kind of sick. There was some that there was a irrigation problem earlier in the summer. So if they do end up having to remove those trees because they're sick or dying, then they'll be replaced. But it's being monitored. But yeah, there were more damage than was originally intended.
Marcia, is your hand still up, or did you have another question? Okay, you're muted. Did you have another question? You're still muted.
No, I don't know how to get rid of my yellow hand.
Okay, all right. You can go down to raise hand at the bottom. Well, thank you, Jim.
Okay.
I think you've heard our concerns, and I hope that you can get back to us fairly quickly here about these. And again, I just want to reemphasize that what is there now between T and that wall is certainly not what we expected that was going to look like. So I think we would like, to see some mitigations and planting, maybe what Marcia was talking about, go in there.
Okay.
Anything else on the sound wall? I know that you guys have been, I'll call on you and get you in a second, Eric. I know you guys have been updating people about loud noise and night work. And so if people aren't getting those emails, you can get them at, maybe you can put that in the chat, Jim, or Anna can, where you can subscribe. So I'm going to call on Eric and then Kate. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up real quick. Jim, I've been in contact with you before via email, so you can follow up on any of our questions on that email thread if you like. But I do really want to reiterate the fact that we're going to need to know what's going to go on with those medians, especially on T Street, because it's only a matter of time before that graffiti that we're seeing on the freeway side starts to enter our neighborhoods. And that's certainly not anything we had before. And if the neighborhood's going to have to come together to figure out a planting aspect for that median, then we really are going to have to figure that out, because a giant wall in the neighborhood is not anything anyone expected. There were numerous trees along that wall that are taking carbon out of the air in emissions. On top of that, so just putting up a brick wall for sound, we lost other things. So those things, I just want to reiterate how important it is that we, there's some sort of plan that we can figure out for landscaping. Thank you.
All right.
Kate, Jim, did you want to respond to that? I was going to call the next person.
Yeah, I mean, we have a landscaping plan, but I know that it's planned for on the sound, on the freeway side, but I don't think there's anything planned on the neighborhood side. That's what I need to look at and get with the team and verify what exactly the plan is for the street side. For the updates, it's fix50.com is just the website. It's super easy to remember, fix50.com. You can go there and register for text or email updates.
I have a question. I'm going to call on you, Kate, in a second. What's the estimated date of completion of the sound wall? It seems behind schedule.
Yes, it is behind schedule. Like everything else, COVID, we couldn't get the blocks to get started. And now that we've got the blocks, we can't get enough brick masons to put them in. They were hoping to have 2 or 3 crews working, and we've only been able to get 1 crew. And so it's going a little bit slower than we hoped. They had this work on all of the areas that are in the dirt first, so they could get get those areas completed before the rain started. And that's why you see some of the areas where the concrete traffic barrier is in place, but there's no blocks on top of that, because they can work on top of the concrete barrier all winter long. So they've been kind of jumping around to different places to try to beat the weather where they could. But they're going to continue on. They're, like I said, they're about half done. They're going to keep working through the winter, and hopefully by February they will have 100% of all the sound walls complete. So we were really trying to beat the calendar year, but it's just not looking like it's going to happen. We've also got the electricians are putting in the freeway lighting and different things along the sound walls. That work's going on right now. So there's a lot of moving parts out there, but we're trying to keep them moving on place and block as fast as we can. Just isn't happening as fast as we would like.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to call Kate. You have a question?
Yeah. I was wondering, does the project include any work on the ramps at 59th? And if so, like what sort of work should we expect?
The ramps, yeah, all of the ramps are going to get repaved. The westbound on-ramp from 59th is going to be widened. It'll be 3 lanes wide. So there'll be 2 lanes with regular ramp metering, and then the third lane will be the HOV ramp metering. And then that's the other 59th Street, the off-ramp at 59th is just getting repaved.
Amy, you had a question?
Yes, thank you. There's a space between the wall and the fences that I'm assuming is for our maintenance access. But what is the plan to make sure that it doesn't become a dark, secluded place that causes a safety issue?
I'm not sure what space are you talking about? Like,
so I can think of, I'm sure it goes west as well, but between 51st and 59th, there's the sound wall, and then there's maybe 12 feet, 15 feet up to the private fences.
Okay. I believe in most places the fences are going to be connected up to the sound wall. So okay. It'll just be the backyards will be extended up to the sound wall.
Okay, thank you.
There won't be gaps. Okay, well, thank you very much. I don't see any other hands up. I assume, Kate, yours is just still up. I think you got the question. Carrie, go ahead.
Okay. So when I put my information into the chat, it goes directly to you, Maggie, and I would like to get Erin from the solid waste, her info, so I can ask her directly my questions, since I wasn't able to do that. And also to the lieutenant, he said he would put his email and phone number in, and I would like that.
He did.
I missed it.
I guess it's all going to me. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, it's all going to you, Maggie. No one else can see it.
Yeah, nobody can
Just
see
so
any
you
of it.
know. So you might want to get it out to the people who came to the meeting.
Okay, I don't know how to do
Patricia can
that.
help with that. She can harvest all the emails.
Thank you.
Okay, so so we will have that information available. Thanks for pointing that out, Carrie. I didn't realize that was going on. Okay, so I think we're ready to go now to the board agenda, and I want to thank again our presenters. The first item is decisions that were made and taken in between board meetings. I think there's the SB9 letter, which went out today with thank you, Jim. Thank you again for coming.
Do you want to stop the recording?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, pause, stop recording. Let's see.